There's no such thing as a low maintenance friendship, because you guys are the same people that have a lot of energy to give to the useless men in your lives. Like, I'm talking, this guy does not contribute anything to your life, but he'll text you at 4 a.m. and you're ready to cancel your shift and hop on a 2-hour train to go and see him. But then you'll be like, a low maintenance friend. Like, no, low maintenance is insultive. It's insultive. I don't care. There's a difference between a friendship that really doesn't take a lot of effort to keep going and then low maintenance. Low maintenance means like you're on the back burner, okay? And I've been somebody's low maintenance friend and never ever again. When you need something, you come. When you want something done, you come to me, but you don't prioritize me as a friend. And you're calling it low maintenance friendship. Oh, yeah. But when you have boy problems, I become worth the maintenance and worth the effort. Madness.
This is very controversial. Nobody's going to agree with me, but I don't give a Your best friend that you haven't spoken to in 6 months, a year, 2 years is not your best friend. Sorry. I know that's got your labia in a bit of a twist. But do you know how much people change and develop in 6 months, a year, 2 years? Do you know how much can happen in that space? You essentially don't know them anymore. And don't get me wrong, you're still friends, distant friends, but you can't call someone your best friend, your sister, your closest person, and you don't even speak to them. Titles hold weight, you know. If you're going to call someone your best friend, you need to be present in their lives. You need to be showing up for them. Would you call a man your boyfriend if he didn't speak to you for 6 months? Would you feel connected to him? Would you feel close to him? No. Even a family member, would you say that you're so close with your cousins, aunties, uncles that you never speak to and never see? No, you literally wouldn't. I honestly just feel like some women just don't care about friendships like that. Like, they don't hold those relationships with the same weight that they would like a romantic relationship. But friendships need nurturing just like any other relationship. And even if you're in a relationship, you need real friendships outside of your partner. You need a life outside of your partner.
I don't really like how we dress up a lack of communication as low maintenance friendships. And again, this is not a shot at anybody that likes a low maintenance friendship. I'm not one of them, but good for you. Honestly, just believe a lot of people do not know how to communicate. And I just find it so hard to believe that people just normalize the essence of like not talking to people for a whole year and then coming back like everything is fine. I honestly do believe that anytime you are like out of contact with somebody, it is a very intentional thing. And it takes nothing to just send a text. A lot of people will be like, oh, have you ever been depressed? I have been depressed. I have went through those things. I don't want to minimize what you went through, but I've went through some things. I've also been that person that did not reach out to my friends when I went through those things and I lost my friends. And I think it's just so important for you to make sure that you are giving like this communication, whether it's just like a small like, hey, I'm going through a lot, or hey, I'm not being distant, life is lifing. Like, you really can't expect anybody to understand what you're going through if like you don't provide them with some type of clarity. And noted, like, some people do just fall flat off the face of the earth, and it's no hard feelings. It's just they're going through a rough time. I think I do pride myself on being a very understanding friend. So when people do come back and they reach out and they explain all those things to me, I think I am very open to having that conversation. However, for us to talk about like, oh, I just love my low maintenance friends, we'll go months on months on months without talking, then we'll come back and we'll talk again. Those are not my friends. I feel like we're acquaintances. People that I call my friends are people that I talk to on a regular basis. Now, noted, we are adults. So reality of being an adult is we might go a month without talking or 2 months without talking. And that is not like an intentionally like bad thing. We just are busy, right? We work for a living. Every day we get up and we have our priorities on our mind, and we just have to provide for ourselves. So like, no other human being is about to be my main focus unless I have a kid. I think at the end of the day, if I don't talk to you for 9 months on end and I see you posting on social media or I see you operating in other capacities in other people's lives, I'm going to assume that we're just not that close anymore. And that's completely fine. I think people grow apart. But the fact that like we push this narrative of having low maintenance friendships is kind of crazy. I don't feel like people have low maintenance friendships. I just feel like people fall off.
I personally feel like that high maintenance term y'all be using is a myth. I be reading what y'all consider to be high maintenance friendships, and it's actually funny to me because the stuff that y'all be naming are just normal stuff that any relationship should have. How am I a high maintenance friend because I don't want you to text me once every month or once every 2 months? How am I a high maintenance friend because I actually want us to hang out? How am I a high maintenance friend because I actually want you to communicate with me when you're going through stuff instead of ghosting me? Friendships are relationships too. Pour into your friendships like you do your romantic relationship. Put energy into your friendships like you do your romantic relationships. The older I get, the more I crave sisterhoods and genuine friendships. But it's almost as if like people don't care about that no more. And that's okay, honestly, truthfully, it's okay. But I don't understand why people continue to make friends when they don't want to put any energy into the friendship. 2023 was a hard year for me when it came to making friends. Like, I felt so alone because people do not care. People do not care about their friends anymore. And I'm just one of those, like, I care about every single one of my relationships. So like, when I just wasn't getting that same energy from nobody. And it was so hard for me because, like, I want to know what's going on with you. I want to be there for you. I want to hang out. I want to do stuff. And nobody wanted to do nothing. And honestly, I know we all go through stuff. But let's be honest. People only make time for what and who they care about. If that makes me a high maintenance friend, then shit.
Hey everyone, it's Bree. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back in another video, and I am here with a topic that was actually requested by one of you guys. So basically, it's the topic of low maintenance friendships and what my thoughts are on low maintenance friendships. For those of you who may not be aware, so low maintenance friendships are basically friendships that don't require much effort or energy to be put into the friendship in order to, maintain it and keep it going. So you're not really expected to talk on a consistent basis. Expectations are very low in these type of friendships, and this term became really popular over the past couple of years, where you basically saw people saying like, oh, I like friendships that are low maintenance, people that, understand I have a busy schedule and I can't always be available. And it just became like a widely known concept. And although I understand like the core of this concept and I can see some benefits in it, I feel like people took the concept and they made it toxic, as a lot of people do online. People see people talking about something or an idea or a concept, and then they take the initial purpose of it and then they make it into something toxic and unhealthy. And I feel like people have done that with the concept of low maintenance friendships. Because listen, I get it, right? Like, obviously as you get older, things happen and people's lives change. People get busier, people have kids, people start businesses, people start careers, and everyone has like a point in their lives where things can get chaotic, and because of things changing and people getting busy, you're not always able to show up in your friendships in the same way that you may have, before when you first started a friendship with whoever it is, right? Like, say you have friends that you've had since high school. High school, like, yeah, you can be busy doing sports and extracurricular activities, but you're not nearly as busy as you were in high school when you become an adult with responsibilities and people to take care of, and even just taking care of yourself. So I understand things change, things happened, and you can't always expect people to be as available as they once were, especially as things start to change. And so this idea of low maintenance friendships is supposed to kind of take that pressure off. If anything, it's supposed to reestablish expectations of like, hey, listen, like, I know this is how our friendship dynamic has been, but because of things that are happening in my life, things are going to shift. Don't take it personally, because I have to put my energy and my time into other things now, and I'm not able to show up in the same ways in this friendship. But that still doesn't negate the friendship. I think it was a way to kind of just say, hey, I have a lot of stuff going on, but I don't want it to change the bond that we have. Please don't base our friendship and our dynamic off of how much I'm available to you or how much I show up for you, and that I still care for you as a friend. I'm still there. I still view you just as close as we once were, but my availability and my time and the way that I show up is just a little bit different because of circumstances. And that I completely understand. I completely give grace for.
I had to stop hanging around people who always thought me not talking to them meant we weren't friends. Like, I don't have to text you all the time. I don't have to call you all day long. Like, we have a life. You have a life. I have a life. Like, we're busy outside of each other. That does not make me less of your friend. I really appreciate the friends where you can go days and days on end without talking to them, and they don't feel like y'all falling out or y'all got any beef. I have friends that I have not talked to in years, but I know when we get on that phone, it feels like we never missed a day. Like, I have friends, if I call and ask them, can you do something? Can I need this? They're going to hop on a plane. Okay? And they're going to come down here and they're going to see me. They're going to do whatever for their friend. I just cannot deal with people that feel like they have to be entitled to your life. They feel like they need to know every working detail about your life. They feel like they need to know about who you with, where you going to be with. You are not my man. And I really think oftentimes a lot of friends feel like they're your man. And they feel like you need to check in with them. You need to let them know every given moment of your day. Even the Bible say don't let your right hand know what your left hand doing. Why do I need to tell you all my good and merry business?
I feel like being a low maintenance friend needs to be normalized because it's such a niche experience. Nobody understands. Like, I be like losing my mind. Sometimes I just need my own time. I just like to be my own space. And I hear these bitches go on fucking Instagram stories. Oh, I'm gonna move accordingly. I'm gonna reciprocate the energy, match energy, new friend. I'm thinking about rent. Nah, I'm not thinking of like I got life.
At this big age, let's normalize having low maintenance friendships. That means we don't get mad if you don't see your friends all the time. Like, some people are so entitled for your friendship and for your time. Like, you're my friend, so every weekend we need to do this, or we need to do this. And if you can't do that, like, hello, people are grown up now. Okay? Like, if I can't make it out, that's our word. Like, those are the type of friendships I value. And like, real friends, it doesn't matter how long you haven't seen each other. We're gonna still pick it up. When I see you, don't worry, we'll keep it up. You know what I'm saying?
However, what I don't like is when people use the term low maintenance friendship and they try to put that low maintenance label on either themselves or again on the friendship as an excuse. As an excuse to not be there and to be a crappy friend. That's when I don't agree with the whole low maintenance friendship idea. I understand it from the perspective of like, again, if things change, if things shift, it's just kind of reestablishing expectations. But I think when it gets to a toxic space, right, is if you are blatantly choosing to not be a good friend, to not show up for people, to never be there for others, but then you're still expecting people to be there for you, I think that's when it gets toxic and that's when it gets unhealthy. I feel like people have made being a bad friend a personality trait. I've seen it a lot online where people almost pride themselves on being a bad friend. They pride themselves on the fact that, oh yeah, I'm too busy to talk to anybody. I'm never available. I never answer my phone. And it's like, why is that something that you're proud of? Why is that something that you're okay with? Again, I understand things happen. I understand people are busy, but I know some people too that they try to either act fake busy or they just are not good at prioritizing their friends and prioritizing the people that are in their lives. And I genuinely believe that people make time for things and for the people that they care about. And so it's like, yes, you may not have all day to talk to your friend, but you probably have a couple of minutes. And that's not to say that you should always put your friends and your family before you and what you have going on. But I have seen people who are super duper busy. They have jam-packed schedules, but they will still find some time in their day to talk to their significant other, talk to their family members. They'll still make time for the people that they care about. And yes, I understand that you can't do that for everybody, nor am I saying that. But if you have somebody that, again, you're really close to, that you consider pretty much like a best friend or a close friend to you, and it's someone that you did talk to often and that you confide in often, and you're expecting that person to still be available to you in that way and to show up for you in that way, then you also need to reciprocate that in the best way that you can. I think effort is what's important here. I feel like with the whole low maintenance thing, people use it as an excuse to not put forth the effort into maintaining the friendship. And you're seeing that talked about more and more online, is that people just don't put effort into their friendships anymore. And then it's like, if that friendship dies out, then they're all confused, like, oh, like, I don't know why this person stopped talking to me and why, you know, things are different. It's like, well, because you weren't contributing anything to the friendship at that point. And when I say getting something from them, I don't necessarily mean like, you know, taking something from them, but literally just, you know, again, if I confide in you, or if you confide in your friend whenever they're going through something, you should also make time for them to confide in you. If you expect them to show up at every single, you know, birthday, every single event that you have, then you should also make time for the stuff that they have. Like, friendship should be reciprocal. And again, it's not always going to be 50-50 all the time. You're going to have times where you fall short. That's just life. But again, intention and effort matters. And I feel like people don't put a lot of intent and effort behind their friendships anymore. And that's why you see people falling out and people going on these trips and, you know, they're falling out with their friends, and you see people online going back and forth. It's not the only reason why that happens, but again, I just don't feel like people value true friendship anymore. I feel like a lot of people, they have friends like for show. They have friends for social media. They have friends just for the sake of using them for something or getting something out of them, but then they never want to put effort in themselves into the friendship. Like, they want to have someone to vent to, but then they never want to be available if someone needs to vent to them. Or, you know, when they host a birthday party, they want everyone to show up, but then when they get invited to someone's birthday, it's, oh, I'm busy.
most of the people on here who's saying, oh, I'm a low maintenance friend. No, most of y'all are just people who like to come around when it's convenient for y'all. Y'all are not real friends. Yes, friends, yeah, y'all don't gotta talk every day, but don't get mad at your friend because they trying to check on you or make them seem like, oh, they're just aggravating because you haven't spoken to them in a little minute or whatever, and they just checking on you, and now you're saying, oh, everybody's in my business, like, just let me. No, communicate with people. Communicate and say, hey, this, and this is not going so good right now. I just don't want to be around people. Simple. Just like that. And people will leave you alone, but don't just make it like people just hounding you to know your business. Like, they care, clearly.
Listen, stop letting people play in your face. There's a difference between a low-maintenance friend and a person who just simply does not want to be your friend. For example, a low-maintenance friend is a person who is flexible, understanding, doesn't guilt you because you're not available 24/7. But make no mistake, a low-maintenance friend is very much so still a friend. And one thing about a friend knows that you exist. And just because y'all don't talk every day doesn't mean y'all don't ever communicate. They check in. A real friend lets you know that you crossed their mind. Make effort to catch up with you. A lot of people will claim to be a low-maintenance friend because they don't want to be your friend. They don't want to be a friend to you. They don't want to be anything to you. Yet they'll claim to be a low-maintenance friend because they benefit from having you as a friend, even though you don't benefit at all from having them as a friend. Because they're not a low-maintenance friend. They're just simply not a friend. So beware of people who make no interest in you, who make no effort to check in on you, to see what you're doing, to catch up with you, make no effort to ever communicate with you. Because low maintenance is just low maintenance, not absence. People who want to be in your life are going to be intentional about being in your life. Period. Stop letting people who make no effort claim themselves to be your low-maintenance friend. Because a lot of times people don't like you. They just like your attributes and they benefit from your attributes. If you got to wonder about them, question if they value the relationship that they have with you, there's probably no relationship. Because there's a difference between low maintenance and no maintenance.
And there's a lot of different reasons why I just don't even like the whole low maintenance friend thing, because I'm not a low maintenance friend, you know? And I think that's also why too this type of dynamic is like to each their own. Like, you know, if it works for you and your friends, then by all means. But for me, I'm not a low maintenance type of friend. And I've struggled a lot in the past with friendships because I feel like I was in a lot of one-sided friendships. I've made a whole video about this, about how I tend to find myself in one-sided friendships and relationships because I'm always pouring so much into these relationships with people, and I do so much, and I'm always readily available when they need me. Anytime they need anything, whether it's my time, whether it's me, you know, physically present, whether they need me to be there emotionally, financially, like I always used to show up for people in any way that they needed me, because that's what I viewed a friendship as. A true friend is going to be there for you, is going to prioritize you, and is going to do what they can for you in the best way that, you know, they are able to. I often found myself in friendships and relationships where that energy wasn't being reciprocated. I always found that people would always prioritize themselves over the friendship. And yes, you should do that in general, but there's a certain point where if you're never taking your friends into consideration, I do feel like that is a bit selfish. And for me, because I don't operate that way, I was having a hard time in these friendships because I would be like, hey, you know, I'm always there for you, I'm always showing up for you. Or even when it came to like forgiving people for things, you know, when they would do something or say something that I didn't like, I feel like that amount of grace and care that I showed other people was not being reciprocated. And I also found too that I was being held to a certain expectation and standard in these friendships and in these relationships where I was expected to be perfect. I was expected to always be there and to always show up and never make a mistake, never say anything that could upset somebody, and just be everything that they wanted me to be. And you know, I at that time would do that, but then it was like, God forbid I wanted somebody to wish me a happy birthday, or you know, I wanted people to again be there for me in my low moments. It was always a million excuses as to why they couldn't be there for me. And so I feel like people have developed this whole low maintenance term as an excuse to not be there, because I whenever I see people talk about it, I often hear people say, oh, I enjoy having low maintenance friendships and people who don't get offended when, you know, I'm not available, or they don't get offended whenever I do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, again, if that type of dynamic is mutual and it's reciprocal, then cool. But if you're expecting your friends to always show up for you, but you never show up for them, I don't think that's right. And that's what I've been seeing more of when it comes to this particular topic. So for me, because of the way that I show up in friendships, because I'm someone that, yeah, when your birthday comes around, I'm going to put a lot of thought and effort into, you know, your birthday and what to get you, because I am someone that will stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning to hear you vent about whatever it is that you're going through in life. Yes, I am someone that will send you money if, you know, you're running low on cash, you need to fill up your gas tank, or, you know, you need dinner, you know, but you had to pay your bills instead. Like, because I'm that type of friend, and because that's the way that I show up, I now not necessarily expect everybody to act like that, but I'm now more intentional about who I consider to be a true friend to me and who I consider to be in my circle. Because I can't have everybody in my circle be on this low maintenance type of energy, because it does start to get very draining, because you feel like you're giving so much of yourself to everybody else, but then no one wants to pour into you, and God forbid you try to set that expectation with them, then it's like, oh, like, you know, they almost trying to make you feel bad for wanting them to show up as a friend. I don't know, I feel like a lot of people are low maintenance nowadays. Like, I feel like it's become this really big trend to just be a crappy friend to people. But I also feel like, too, people pick and choose who they want to be low maintenance with, because it's the same thing with, like, people who are bad texters. You often find that people are only bad texters with the people that they don't really care about. If it comes to, you know, their man or their woman, or again, just certain people in their lives, oh, they'll drop everything to respond to a text, to hop on the phone, hop on FaceTime. But then you have other people that they may not prioritize as much, and they constantly get ignored, their calls and their texts get unanswered, and they often use the excuse of, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just a bad texter, I'm just horrible at getting back to people, I'm horrible at answering my phone. No, you're horrible at answering your phone when it comes to me, because I literally have had situations before in certain friend groups that I've been in high school and in college, where I would reach out to somebody or I would text somebody and they would never get back to me in a timely manner. But then I would be with a friend, like a mutual friend, and I'd be like, hey, can you text someone, ask them, you know, such and such, and they will respond to them immediately while they still got me left on red. And so again, I feel like people just pick and choose who they want to be low maintenance with and who they don't want to show up for. And I think at that point, that's when you kind of reevaluate that friendship, and you just become aware of how they're treating you, how they're prioritizing you, or how they're not prioritizing you, and then you have to act accordingly. You have to say, okay, if this person is going to take 3 days to text me back, then I'm not going to be in a rush to text them back. And again, not in like a petty way of like literally counting the days, like, okay, it's been 3 days, but just knowing who to prioritize based off of who's prioritizing you, knowing how to show up in certain friendships based off of how they're also treating you.
I don't care what nobody says. Somebody that's claiming to be a low maintenance friend is not your friend. And if you know that you require a lot from your friendships, that's okay. But that's not your friend. Like, they be like, you know, we don't gotta talk every day. We don't gotta talk every day. But I haven't heard from you in months. You're not a low maintenance friend. You're not a friend. You don't know anything that's going on in my life. No life updates. No life milestones. You're not a friend. You don't check on me. You're not a friend. That's not low maintenance. That's popping in and out when it's beneficial or convenient for them. And friendships are not always going to be convenient because it's a relationship you have to maintain. And let's also be clear. These low maintenance friends are low maintenance to certain people, to certain friends. And then they have friends who are priorities that they do talk to every day, every other day, FaceTime, talk on the phone, go visit, the whole nine. They're not your friend.
I'm going to say something, and I don't want no one to argue with me because I don't give a fuck. Okay, so I hate when I be on TikTok and I be seeing y'all talk about how y'all low maintenance friends, right? But y'all not low maintenance to that situationship that be having you fucked up, toxic as fuck. But when it comes to y'all friends, y'all go MIA. Oh, we don't got to talk every day. But you hounding down the nigga that don't even fuck with you? What the fuck? I don't like that term low maintenance friend. I just feel like you just a bad friend. Nah, I don't like this lightning. But I just feel like once I hear that, I'm not talking to you. And I'm not gonna lie, one thing I really gotta stop doing, my damn self, is texting people back so fast, knowing that they be leaving me in their fucking delivery box for like 17,000 years, bro. But I be want to talk to my friends, and I, like, if they text me back, I text back, like, right away. No, I'm not doing that shit no more. No, absolutely not. Because y'all see my message. And then the people, I'm not gonna lie, and I have, if I'm around you and I see that you're always on your phone, always texting, but when I text you and shit, or I call you, it be taking 17,000 years to, I'm not texting you no more. I'm gonna fall the fuck back. And I don't want no one saying, oh, you do the same shit, bro. I act off how y'all act towards me. If I see y'all, a lot of people want me to text their phone now. I'm not doing it. Like, oh, you leave me because y'all be doing shit to me, so I'm gonna do it back to y'all. I can't fucking speak. Like, no, absolutely not. I already know how I am as a friend. Like, I want to text my friends every day. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. And then when I see y'all used to me, no, I will dead ass just stop talking to you or just pull my shit back. Fuck out of here, bro. That shit, no. Hell no. Going from used to begging people to hang out with me, and no. I have to get my stutter under control because sometimes
if they're not treating you in the way that you feel like you deserve, then that's when you readjust. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys to just cut off everybody. I know that's like the biggest go-to is like, oh, well, they're not a friend, so just cut them off completely. I don't think you necessarily need to cut them off, but you do need to readjust how you show up in that friendship so you don't feel drained and so you don't feel used and you don't feel like, you're giving with nothing in return. So if you have someone that's not giving you much, then again, you reciprocate that, so then that way, at least in that dynamic, you don't feel like you're losing so much of yourself and you're giving so much of yourself to someone that doesn't deserve it. You're giving them exactly what they give you. And if they're giving you the bare minimum, you give them the bare minimum. Because that's the energy that I've been on as of lately. And I feel like it's helped me to navigate friendships better. Now, yes, it is still a little bit disappointing because there are certain people that I wish I was closer to, that I wish would reach out to me more, that I wish that I could, spend time with more. But at the end of the day, you have to pour into people who pour into you. If the people in your life aren't doing that, then it is time to readjust and to make some changes for the sake of you not feeling, burnt out. But like I said, if this is a dynamic that is mutually agreed upon and it works for you and your friends, cool. That's how it should be. If you are someone that's like you prefer most of your friendships at this point to be low maintenance, then just establish that boundary, have that conversation with people and be like, look, things have been changing in my life, please, if anything, I would just give a disclaimer to be like, hey, look, there's just things going on in my life right now that have caused me to not be as available. Please don't take it personally. This is just how things are for me right now. I still have love for you. I still care for you. You're still an important person in my life, but just as of right now, I'm not able to be there and show up in the same way that I once did. I think at the end of the day, not only does intent matter, but also communication. I know that people say this all the time, and it feels like we're a broken record saying how important communication is, but it truly is important to communicate. And I also think a lot of conflict that happens in friendships could be resolved if people would just communicate when things change, instead of just this expectation of like, oh, well, you should just be okay with the fact that I don't text back in like a month's time. No. How about reach out to the person and say, hey, and you don't even have to get into specific details. I know people feel like they have to like explain like every little detail of what's going on. No, just be like, hey, some things are coming up. I've been really, really busy. If I don't get back to you as quickly as I normally do, please don't take offense. It's just what's going on, and I'm doing my best to get back to you when I can. Like, just again, communicating and setting expectations is what's going to help maintain those type of friendships when things do happen and dynamics do change. It's all about communication.
The older I get, the more I understand the importance and the value of having real friendships. What I mean by that is we get on the internet every day and people get on here and they just stress this notion that you just have to expect the bare minimum in your platonic relationships in your life. I don't understand why people are so forceful when it comes to the conversation of, oh, you have to have standards when you date people. If they're not meeting your standards, then you have to let them go. So, okay, it's okay for people to know what they're looking for in romantic relationships. But when it comes to friendships and people are just asking for simple things like communication, reciprocation, accountability, it's like, oh, y'all are not understanding. People have other things going on in their life. Let me tell y'all something. The same way that you have to work a job is the same way that your friend works a job. I have learned the hard way what happens when you prioritize other things in your life over friendship. I've seen me lose my friendships and have to fight to get them back because they don't want to deal with me because I wasn't there for them. All I'm saying at the end of the day is I don't like how y'all put friendships to the back burner, but everything else, it's okay for y'all to have standards. No. Everybody is not supposed to be friends, and that's okay. Some people are my associates, some people are my work associates, some people are people that I just know of. Everybody is not my friend. I'm not yearning to find friendships that don't serve me. Quality over quantity. I value the ones in my life. And in a day and age where they want to push this notion that you shouldn't have friends or that friends aren't good for you or you can do everything alone, I value the people that showcase the real essence of friendship on here.
This is how you avoid burnout in friendships. Be super transparent. The more open you are about the type of friendship you're looking for, the healthier the friendship will be and the more fulfilled you will feel. Maybe you have something like ADHD and you struggle with being on time or being consistent or responding to messages in a timely manner. Let them know. Maybe you have a lot going on with work or a relationship, or you're just feeling down and you don't have a lot of energy for socializing. Let them know. And when you let them know, you can reassure them. Keep it positive, keep it fun, but you can also be really clear about what your needs are. Stop texting people every day. I don't know who still does this unless you're like in the dating phase or in the early stages of a relationship. Test out if this person is okay with doing this. To me, the easiest way to burn out in a new friendship is feeling like you need to do the most. Figure out what activities you like to do and then add a friend to those. It can be as simple as going on a morning walk to get coffee together. Sometimes those activities are even more meaningful than going to an event or going to lunch. Be open to spontaneity. This sounds counterintuitive, but think about the times that you've had something planned for weeks and you get anxious leading up to it and it finally gets to the day and you just don't feel like going anymore. There's something about vibe matching with someone when you're both interested in doing something at the same time and it was spontaneous that makes the connection even stronger. I can't explain it. Don't force a single thing. If you keep trying to meet up with someone and the plans just never work out, things never align, then it's really not meant to be. Honestly, some of my best friendships have been sort of spiritually aligned, like right time, right place scenario, and they just went from there. And it honestly took me like 2 to 3 years of living in LA, coming from the East Coast, to find good friends. So be patient. You can go off of vibes, keep your standards high. All right, hope this was helpful. Bye.
And when people, I never understand when people get upset when they're like, oh, well, I shouldn't have to explain that. I shouldn't have to sugarcoat anything. People should stop being so sensitive. And my whole thing is like, I just feel like if this is someone that you really care about and this is someone that you have a genuine friendship with, you would want to communicate that to them. You would want to let them know like, hey, like, I'm sorry that I haven't been there. Here's why. Things are happening right now. And I just want you to know that I still care for you. And I'll do my best to make it up to you later on or something like that. Like, I feel like when you have people in your life that you really genuinely care about and you do prioritize, it's not even gonna feel like a chore to want to communicate to them and let them know what's going on. So I feel like when people get on the defense about that, they don't really care about that person. They don't really care if they hurt that person's feelings or if they feel some type of way. And at that point, you do have to ask yourself, okay, is this a true friend? If you have someone that doesn't really care about how their actions and what they're doing is affecting you, then to me that's a red flag. And to me, I would start to reevaluate my relationship with that person, because someone that doesn't take into account how things could affect me and they don't even take the time to think about how what they're doing could hurt me or how it could even lead to some distance in the friendship, if you're not even being considerate of that, I would argue that you just don't care enough about that person in that friendship. And I think, again, it's not all, but a lot of these low maintenance friendships, I do feel like it's people who want to hang on and cling on to people that they don't really care about. They don't really care to prioritize, but they still want to benefit from having them in their lives without them themselves having to put in the work and the effort to maintain the friendship with that person. So then if it does get to a point where that person's like, hey, you're not really showing up for me, you're not really answering my calls, I'm kind of feeling some distance, like what's going on, they don't even really care to repair it or to put forth extra energy because they really didn't care in the first place. So honestly, I think the moral of the story here is don't be a low maintenance friend but then expect high maintenance treatment. If you want a low maintenance friendship, cool, but then just understand what that looks like, make that clear, but don't use that as an excuse and a reason to not show up for people. Having genuine friendships and connections in this world is what gets people to where they want to be. It's literally what gets people to, elevate and get certain opportunities and to be in in certain rooms. And when it comes to your friendships and your core circle of friends, you're gonna want people that are truly there for you and riding for you as you go on through life. And if you're somebody that is in a friendship right now where you feel like it's one-sided, you feel like you're putting a lot of effort and energy into it, but the other person isn't reciprocating and doing their part, address it with them. Set those boundaries. Let it be known what you expect from them as a friend, not in a combative way, but in a way of like, hey, this is how I've been feeling. I feel like our friendship has kind of been shifting, and this is how it's been making me feel. Based off of how they react from that, you can then determine how you want to show up in that friendship moving forward. If you express that and they actually seem to be making an effort to be better and show up better in that friendship, then extend them that grace that, you know, they did fall short for some time, but they really are trying. But then on the flip side, if they get defensive or if they just choose to not make those changes and they don't want to reciprocate that energy, then that's when you act accordingly, and that's when you change how you go about showing up in that friendship. Because at the end of the day, everyone is out here doing what's best for them, so you need to be doing the same. You need to be protecting your heart, your spirit, and you don't want to be in friendships that feel draining, that feel like you're begging, that feel like, you know, you're struggling to get the bare minimum from people. That's not what you deserve. If you're someone that does show up and you're there for people, you deserve people that are also like that for you. Because the last thing you want to do is to pour from an empty cup and you're depleted trying to be everything for everybody, but then you're looking around like, well, who's showing up for me? You know? So yeah, those are my thoughts and opinions about the low maintenance friendship topic. If you guys have any thoughts, if you are someone that's in a low maintenance dynamic, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead, give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video.